Hello, friends. My name is Steve, and this is Steve Talks Books. Thank you for coming by and watching my weekly update. It's where I talk about what I've been reading, what I'm going to read, what I won't get to, and everything else in between. If you'd like to connect with me, the best place is on our website at pagechewing.com. We have a new front page. I had to install WordPress, so I have all the new posts go up there for all the new podcast entries, all the different conversations with links. There's some book reviews there, and some other people who are going to start blogging for the site from time to time. It's not anything serious. It's not like a, again, everyday thing or commitment. It's just whenever you feel like posting something, if you're into it. So go check it out if you have a minute and let me know what you think. It's still under construction. I'm still getting some things squared away there, so it's not finished, but go by and check it out. And then, of course, we have our forums where we have all of our discussions, and we plan all of the different book activities and sometimes non-book activities. They're in the forum with our event calendar. That can also be found on Vero at that one MFer. It makes me laugh every time. I am in the middle of the 365-day challenge where I have to post a picture, take a picture, post a picture every day for 365 days. I am on day 39 or 40, I think now. So it's been a fun experience. It's helped my creativity, I think. I didn't have any before, so couldn't get any worse. And also, I can also be found on Twitter at Steve Talks Books. That is my book-focused Twitter account. I don't really post anything other than books there. So that if that's interesting to you, go check that out as well. So it's been 2 weeks. I didn't have an update last week. Some of you had noticed that during the last Friday conversation with Laurel and Wendy and Michael, that I was starting to kind of lose my voice, or I was pausing to cough. Well, I almost totally lost my voice. My throat just really hurt. I couldn't talk without coughing. Thankfully, it wasn't anything serious. I'm not sure what caused it. If something I did and didn't recognize I was doing it and sabotaged myself, but I couldn't really talk a whole lot for about a day or two. So thankfully, Taylor and PL were able to continue that episode of Page Chewing without me. So go check that out. If you missed it, it was on Taylor's channel last week. So we'll try and catch up. I didn't have a whole lot to talk about last week. And in a way, I wanted to do an update because I think it's important for even those weeks you don't get a lot in. It's still okay. There's, you don't have to read a certain amount of pages every week. It's just how it goes. Sometimes you have slow weeks. My work schedule recently changed, so I'm still adjusting to that. So my habits are a little thrown off at the moment. So I have been reading The Warrior Prophet. We're still meeting every Friday to discuss different chapters. A quick update on that. We are finishing the book next Friday on the podcast. YouTube is about 2 weeks behind the podcast. So if you're watching on YouTube and not on the podcast, you won't notice a difference because we are going to take a 2-week break after we finish The Warrior Prophet. We're going to take like a 2-week break, come back November 5th to discuss the first few chapters of The Thousandfold Thought. In addition to The Warrior Prophet, I have been reading the Grace of Kings. I forgot what I'm reading sometimes. By Ken Lewis, the first book in the Dandelion Dynasty series. And we did have a spoiler-filled discussion about this one on Saturday morning. So if you've read it, you can go watch that. But this book surprised me a little bit. I think I always love whenever a book, especially a fantasy book, explores the consequences of what happens after battles. Especially in fantasy, we're most of the time we're focused on the battles and the fighting and things like that. But I love when a book explores what happens after the dust settles. How do you rule? How do you maintain control? Are the people who fight necessarily the people that should be ruling? Because those are almost two different things. And the length of time it takes to change a system, if you're going to overthrow an empire, then what? Do you move backwards? Do you move forward? People who come from this life of being a slave or being, in the lower levels of society, and suddenly they're in this position of power. How do they handle that? How do they change? And there's a ton of characters in the Grace of Kings. It was a lot for me. There's lots of names. But the main characters, as they evolve from beginning to end, was really, really great. Really, really fascinating, thought-provoking book. And it's great to have a different kind of culture portrayed in fantasy. I think it's just a different mindset, and the way that they treat each other and the different cultural norms in this book is different than normally what we read. So in that sense, it was really great. I will have a spoiler-free review that I'll get more in depth in hopefully sometime soon. We'll be recording that after this. So something to look forward to. And I also did start listening to Cibola Burn. It's the 4th book in the Expanse series. I'm reading that with Chris Mohan, Robin from Bookends and Biscuits, and our friend Layla. So we'll be meaning to spoil that book next week. So on the channel, we are still meeting every Tuesday evening for House of the Dragon. So if you are watching along, come by and chat with us. It's every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Mountain, 4 p.m. Pacific. And beyond that, I'm not a whole lot of help with the time zones. And then, of course, this last Friday, we did have Shauna Lawless, Chris Mohan, and Jord Reads Books. We were hassling Jord to start his YouTube channel. And talking to Shauna. She's great to talk to, and it's always great to have someone who's willing to tell us about their experiences and about why they love fantasy and about adaptations and getting different perspectives and hearing about, publishing her book. All that was really great. And all the Irish history and mythology, that's something that I'm not too familiar with. We don't really hear a whole lot about it usually. So that was really great too. So check that out if you are curious. And then, of course, The Warrior Prophet. Every Friday, those videos go up on YouTube. So that'll be consistent for the next 2 weeks. This coming week, we will have page chewing. And by the time you watch this video, that will have already happened because I'm recording this Saturday. So hasn't happened yet, but hopefully it goes off without a hitch with Mihir from Fantasy Book Critic and Gurev Mohanty. I'm going to have to get correct pronunciation on that name. But we wanted to talk to them about, culture, how culture plays a role in storytelling. And also, I will be recording a bunch of reviews. I'm way behind on recording reviews. I didn't record that many for a while, so I have a backlog. So I'm going to be recording some reviews to be posting over the next several weeks. I already do have another one recorded, ready to go, but I'm going to have a big backlog of videos for all of you to hopefully enjoy. And speaking of reviews, I've been copying over some old book reviews I had on the forum blog over to the new blog and the new WordPress site. And I was copying and pasting some of them. And the old format I used to use was what I liked, what I didn't like, and then overall thoughts. And reading those older reviews, I think I'm going to try that format again. So I'm open to suggestions or thoughts on those when you start to see them again. Kind of a breakdown of what I liked, what I didn't like, and then overall thoughts. So I'm going to try that and see how it goes. They'll still be spoiler free. Also, it's very interesting, the spoiler discussion that we've been having over the last, month or so about how some people love spoilers, some people don't like spoilers. Everyone has their own opinions on that. I know there's like some studies that people try and convince me that I'm going to enjoy stories better if I know how it ends, because there's some studies that say that people enjoy the story more if they know how it ends. And I've been around long enough, and I know that I don't enjoy stories nearly as much if I know what happens. I have almost sometimes if I know how a story ends, I won't even bother because it's just not what I enjoy. So for those of you who are like me, who don't like spoilers, don't worry, I won't be spoiling anything, and those will be reserved for the group discussions for the most part. And also, how many unfinished series do you have on your list? How many series have you started and not finished? I'm afraid to look at mine. I'm not sure how many. I try and finish a series once I start it. So how many do you have on your list? I'm curious. And what is it about that first book in a series that distracts us from another series that we love so much that we veer off and go to a new story instead of continuing? I think that's really interesting. And I wanted to mention I did receive some book mail this last week, some really great stuff. So let me just show you really quickly. This first one I didn't even want to open because it was packaged so cool. So if you can see, this is butcher paper, and it says K9, and there's a cost of it there. So that was the first layer. Then the second layer was the book, and it was in this tray, in this like the styrofoam tray. and it was inside the saran wrap. And of course, it's Dog Meat by Priscilla Bettis. She was nice enough to send me a physical copy. Thank you so much, Priscilla. I'm looking forward to getting into it. Great stuff. Great cover too. So yeah, I didn't want to even open it because it was packed. It was so cool. I didn't want to open it, but I want to read the book, so I had to open it. But it was so cool. I mean, so much thought goes into it, and especially now with shipping costs and stuff. I mean, it's all this stuff. There's a lot of time and effort and energy and resources put in. So thank you so much, Priscilla, for sending this over to me. It's just so cool. I love that presentation. The coolest thing. It's so neat. The second thing I received this week is this little pouch, and inside the pouch, two things. The first one is this black card that is Sienna Frost's signature. She's the author of Obsidian Awakening. And inside, if I can get it out, also inside is this little charm, and it was a piece of obsidian. So that is really neat. So for that little piece of obsidian on this little string, I think that's so cool. So neat to be able to have a signed card, and then of course the little charm to go with the book. So it's a great companion to that book. So thank you so much to Faye or Sienna Frost for sending that over. So many great things have happened doing this booktube thing, and I've been able to connect with so many different people and make so many new friends, and just really neat stuff. Really cool stuff. So I wanted to tell you all about that. Thought that was really thoughtful, and really appreciate it. So how are you doing? What are you reading? What are you watching? What are you listening to? We have been watching Veep from time to time. We started it and then took a little bit of a break, and I start to wonder how much of Veep is seeped in reality. How close is that to reality? I wonder sometimes. No matter who's in power, it's just you wonder the people that are in charge, what they're really like, and what they're really up to. We also finished Cobra Kai, the new season, and I'm wondering with this one, where else are they going to go with it? I think they keep finding ways to keep it new and fresh, but I wonder, when is that going to be not enough to be interesting? And it's ridiculous and cheesy in a wink and a nod kind of way. They know they're being ridiculous. They know it's cheesy, but they embrace it. They embrace the cheese, and they go for it. And I don't know. I admire that. I think they don't take themselves too seriously. They know what they are, and they just go with it. And there's lots of you. It's not the kind of show you can go into expecting anything to take itself too seriously. So it's ridiculous. It's really silly, but it's a we know we're being silly kind of way. So I appreciate that. So let me know if you've seen any of those and what you thought of them, if you have seen them. So let me know how you're doing down below. I always love to hear from you. I always I would get so many great suggestions from all of you whenever you talk about what you're absorbing, what music you're listening to, movies or what have you. So thanks so much for spending a few minutes of your day with me to hear me talk. Sorry I couldn't make it last week. I wasn't able to talk. But thank you for coming by, saying hello, and interacting with me. All the links I mentioned are down below in the description if you'd like to check them out. I'm always open to suggestions or interacting with anyone who wants to chat. So sometimes it takes me a little bit to get back because there's so many different platforms that sometimes it's challenging to keep up. But I always love to hear from you. So I hope you're having a great week. I hope last week was great. This week was great. Let me know what you have planned for this coming week. Anything special. I'd love to hear about it. Until next time, talk to you soon.